So did you get enough sleep after watching WWDC?
Yeah, trying to catch up.
Okay, hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. This is Amin.
And this Alex.
And today we're going to talk about WWDC 2020. So Apple just announced a number of significant, I would say, updates in across all of their operating systems. iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS. We're going to talk about what it means to you guys as a consumer, what you can look forward to. And also we're going to talk about the biggest thing that was announced, which Apple is going to go into making their own processor. So they're going to use the ARM architecture. We had like a little discussion before we went on camera. I'm kind of like not believing that Apple can pull this off, but Alex feels that they might be able to. So, before we begin, I just want to remind everybody, we are also available on podcasts. So, on any of your favorite podcast platforms, just search for Let's Talk About, searchicha.com, and we're there. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, and please do give us a nice 5-star rating on podcasts, because that helps us a great deal in getting our podcasts more and more listeners, and you guys definitely contribute a lot to that. Okay, let's get down to business. WWDC. The interesting part is it's the first pre-recorded, I feel.
Yep.
At least the first pre-recorded keynote that I can remember. And I think Apple pulled it off quite nicely. They started the show with obviously the biggest operating system they have. I mean, with the most user base, which is iOS. So there was, just before WWDC, there was like a news report saying that they might ditch iOS and call it what?
iPhone OS.
Okay, where did that come from and why people speculated on that?
There's a couple of leaks, and also there's a couple of insider sources, which they had good history before. They claims that Apple's going to make a switch because it makes sense, like what they did for iPad OS. Yeah, so essentially same thing to move on. And then there's also a video which turned out to be like a prank.
Fake.
Yeah, fake. So at the end of the day, it's still going back to iOS. So the new version is iOS 14, and it comes with a number of features which a lot of people are saying that it's copying from Android. Android's done it a long time ago.
Too. Yeah, it's like okay.
But I don't really agree. It's not exactly the same. It's a good improvement. For those who are not feeling that they want to use the new features. Okay, let's talk about the new features. So the first thing you'll notice is that Apple is finally introducing widgets on the home screen.
Hooray!
Yay! Finally.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt you a bit. Widgets, I don't use them that much. I don't know if... Okay, I've seen also a lot of people with like really messy home screens on their phone, especially Android users. Some people just like to put everything on their home screen. For me, it's a bit of a headache. I like my home screen to be clean and uncluttered. I don't like folders. I think phones now, they have the search bar. It makes it easy for me to search for apps.
Same. I also do that. I use the search more often.
Yeah. I don't need them in folders. So for me, it's like some of the things that Apple is introducing in iOS 14, like the widgets,
the app library,
and app library can recommend things and stuff like that. It feels like they're trying to appease the Android user to come on board and like, okay, come and clutter your home screen as much as you want with all these new features.
Yeah, it's like you complain about app drawer. Okay, we give you one. We're gonna call it app library.
Yeah, and we'll make it smart. Okay, what is app library? Obviously, okay, we'll talk about that in a little later. Okay, so Alex, I want to come back to you. Widgets.
Yep.
What's so good about them? I mean, how is Apple doing it differently from Android?
Actually, a lot of similarities. So number one, right, is that developers can now make multiple sizes. So let's say you like the weather widgets, you want it to have the full width, or maybe like a two by two format and all that. You have the flexibility to do so. And the good thing about this is that you can finally put it anywhere on the home screen. But there's some limitations. Like for example, on Android, right, you can actually put your icons way at the bottom and leave an empty space at the top. But unfortunately, Apple being Apple, everything's aligned to the top left. So you can't just put a widget at the bottom of the screen and nothing on top. You need to follow that particular order.
So everything will be locked to
the top left.
first.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to point out widgets was, I mean, it's not really something entirely new. They had widgets before.
They have it right now, actually.
Yeah, they have widgets
on
right
left
now.
bar, yeah.
But you have to swipe to the right.
Basically on the most left panel with the search bar and all that.
So like when you turn on your iPhone and then you swipe there, and then these are the things that they call widgets.
Yes.
You can add and customize, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, and I hardly use it because I hardly swipe to this panel.
Yeah, the only thing I use is the battery widget at the top.
Yep.
And screen time, it helps remind me what I use and some other stuff here, but that's pretty much it. But again, they were trying to stay true to the simplicity and Apple knows best kind of thing. Like customization on their operating system is not a big thing. So if a lot of people who are on Android, when I tell them, hey, why don't you try iOS or iPadOS, the first thing that they come back to me and say, oh, I can't do a lot. I can't customize. And for the ladies, they like to customize the fonts, a huge deal.
Yep.
They like wallpapers and stuff like that. Well, you can do wallpaper on iOS. You can't do much on anything else.
And another new thing that introduced is Smart Stack. So, like for example, you have multiple widgets and you don't want to cover the entire screen. You can actually stack on top of each other.
How does that work again?
So from the demo, in a second, you can drag another widget on top of each other and it creates a stack. So you can actually like swipe through.
Okay,
so it could be like
it's like a carousel.
Carousel, yes.
Okay.
So it can be like in the morning you can see like the traffic information. You swipe it down to see perhaps the calendar, your next appointment. You swipe again, you can check the weather report. So that's pretty interesting. But another major difference on the home screen is that you can now hide panels. So like usually,
what panels do you mean? What do you mean by panels?
Like
the home screen itself,
Yeah, the home screen itself. Like for example, on Android, right? You know you can add like panels and can delete and all that, move around.
Yep.
So for iOS 14, you have the option to like hide the panels. So let's say you have a page for all your productivity stuff, like for work, and maybe during the weekend I don't want to see this on my second panel. You can actually pinch out and then you disable it.
Oh,
You're
so
still
it's like
still there.
a desktop on Mac.
Correct. You can just hide it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that's neat. Not entirely groundbreaking. The way I look at it, right? I think the reason why Apple takes this approach, whereby like everything has to be arranged in a particular order, like the alignment. Everything must be aligned top left. Is because they don't want to create like a radical difference for people who already enjoy the current interface. So in a way, Apple's not forcing everyone to use the new design. So if you're happy with how it is right now, you can use it as it is. There's no major difference. If you want to be experimental, you want to get more complicated, like what you said, like some Android users that put lots of widgets, you are able to do so. So you're given that option.
Okay, the other things also are like what, picture-in-picture?
Yep, it's not entirely brand new.
Yeah, it's not new. I think Netflix had that. I use Netflix on my iOS machine, on my iPhone, and then I can watch Netflix, and then when I swipe up to close the Netflix, it will appear as
picture-in-picture.
As a picture-in-picture.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know whether you can snap it. So let me see if I can demonstrate that for our video viewers. I'm just gonna open Netflix and I'm just gonna play whatever this is, Jurassic Park, and then let me see. Oh, I can't remember how I did it, but I did it before.
I've seen it on iPad though.
No. Okay, it's not doing that now.
I've seen it on iPad, but not. I haven't seen
Okay,
it on iOS.
maybe I was mistaken.
Yep.
I'll get back to you on that, but yeah, I could be wrong. But okay, picture-in-picture, not entirely new.
But the biggest change I must say is the way it handles notifications. Like, have you been in a situation whereby like you're driving on the road with Waze running,
Yes.
and then okay, I want to see what's the next turn. Next thing you know, ding, 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 the call comes in and everything just overwritten. Like, stop!
Yes.
You don't reject the call because you don't want to offend the
You don't
person.
want to ghost the people.
That's right. You just want to ignore it, but at the same time you need the directions. You can't do it.
First world problem.
Yeah. So Apple has finally, make it more discreet. So if a call comes in, you're gonna have like a small panel on the top, which most Android users have right now.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with Siri. So you want to ask Siri for help. For example, if you're browsing a page and then like you ask Siri for a question, right? It doesn't override the whole screen. It just comes out like a floating bubble at the bottom, and then it will actually answer you with a pop-up as well. So it doesn't take you away from your active app. So I think that's a major improvement. Not entirely groundbreaking, but it's good that they put it in.
And then there are like new things in the new memojis. They're making a memoji with face mask,
and then different hairstyle with
new
age.
age category. So you
Yes.
have a gray hair, grayer hair, white hair.
No hair.
No, you have that.
Yeah.
You have more expressions in the memojis.
Yep.
The good thing here is they're not removing the good stuff. Like I spoke about how Apple is now liberalizing its operating system, and they started this with iOS and iPad OS. You could now, in iPad OS, you can now plug in a thumb drive, you can plug in a mouse, and it'll just work. And that's a big deal for people who've been using iPads and iOS. I guess the thing that I don't know, kind of like not annoys me, but it was funny to me when I was watching the recap. It's like they make it sound like everything is a big deal. It's like a whole new redesign, but technically it's not, because you're still using the same font, the same kind of style, and the same. It's not really a redesign. It's more of a tweak, and I think they've refused to not refused. They've cautiously not use that word as tweak. But again, maybe I'm nitpicking. I'm not complaining. I think there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to iOS. The good thing also, I read in one of the reports, right, Alex, that you wrote, why people are using iOS is because I think the adoption of new software is much faster and more spread. So the percentage is like really high, right?
Really high,
so what was the report?
Actually, it's written by Nick. No mistaken, it's about close to 80%, no mistaken. Yeah, but yeah, so basically the adoption rate is much faster. And to be fair, it's because Apple has full control of the products, the software, the hardware, so they can just roll it out. Unlike Android, because Android is so fragmented, there's so many brands or OEMs out there. Makers, like Samsung is doing a good job, but again, it's only limited to maybe maximum 2 years. Whereas for Apple, since they control the whole ecosystem, they can actually push it up to phones that are much older. Like even on iOS 14, if your phone can get iOS 13, you will get iOS 15. And that includes the iPhone 6s from 5 years ago.
iOS 14?
Yes.
Yeah, so you pay a lot. So this is the argument, and a lot of people ask me, okay, do I get Android or do I get an iOS phone? The comparison is not apple to apple, I have to say. It's not. I mean, I cannot say that if you're choosing iPad and iPhones and Android phones, which one's better? I cannot, because those two things are completely different. They are smartphones, but they diverge in terms of what they believe is important and how they do things. So you do pay a lot more of a premium when getting an iPhone versus an Android equivalent spec for spec. But the compatibility and the ease of use and the ecosystem is something that, if people are already in the Apple ecosystem, whether it's Mac or whether it's an iPad, right, they'll find having an iPhone tremendously useful to the tools that they already have. One of them is, of course, when you're copy pasting. So I can have my iPhone, I can browse on my iPhone, I can browse like a web or a document or whatever, and I can copy a text and I can immediately paste that on my Mac or on my iPad, not a problem. And that's a huge deal for me. It's for Android, yes. A lot of people will say, hey, I can do that on Android. I can do that on a Huawei. Sure, if you want to give away all your privacy and security, sure, use a Huawei phone. I'm not going to use a Huawei phone because of that. But it takes a little bit more tweaking. So I did try it with the Huawei Share, what's it called?
Huawei Share, yeah.
Huawei Share, was it?
Yep.
So with the Huawei Share, yes, it's available. So imagine if this is a Huawei phone and this is a Huawei laptop. I need to tap on the computer and then I need to swipe, and it's just problematic.
Yeah, the thing about Apple is that you don't need to consciously connect the device. It just works from one device to another.
It just talks to each other.
Yeah.
It's really smart. Pairing is awesome. So again, if you're on the ecosystem, you have a Apple Watch. Just pairing with your iPhone is magic. I might sound like a fanboy, and if you're not an iPhone or a Mac user, you might not be able to understand what I'm trying to say. But if you do get into the ecosystem, you believe in that.
Speaking of magic, about going seamless and all that, right? During the keynote, they announced a very interesting update for the to AirPods. So let's say, for example, if you're a complete Apple fanboy, okay, you have an iPhone, you got iPad, you got Mac, laptop.
Yeah.
So if you have an iPod, right, usually,
AirPod?
sorry, AirPod, yes, AirPod, sorry. So normally you want to switch between devices, you need to reconnect, right?
Not reconnect. So you gotta, I don't know how, okay, well, I don't know what you call it reconnect, but you gotta swipe down, press the Bluetooth,
Yes.
and tell the Bluetooth to connect to that AirPod.
Correct.
Okay.
So now with the new
Seamless.
update, it's seamless.
Yeah.
It's automatic switching.
Yes.
So for example, if you're using an iPhone, it's paired, right? And suddenly you need
You
to
turn it off, and then you wanna listen to a YouTube video on your Mac.
or iPad,
Yeah.
you automatically switch to that device.
Yes.
And if a call comes into this device,
Yeah.
it will switch back. So because everything is connected to iCloud, right?
Yeah.
It's consciously aware of which devices you're actively using, and it just does the switching
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is an update that I'm like really looking forward to. So I'll come to AirPods in a little later. There's like spatial audio,
Yep.
automatic switching, which makes it like really useful if you have multiple Apple devices. But I want to go back to iOS 14. I want to talk about compatibility. I was talking about like you pay a lot more for iPhones because they last longer. They have smaller batteries, they charge faster for sure, but they last longer. Yes, repair costs more, but they last longer in terms of like when you need the software to work. So I like for example the iPhone SE, right? It's new, but it runs on the no, not new. I mean like what I want to say. what did I want
It's
to
a
say?
new product, but it's basically like a refresh iPhone 8.
No,
with
okay,
the
yes.
latest
So the
processor.
iPhone 8. I wanted to talk about the iPhone 8. It will run the same run the same software as the iPhone SE, which is launched this year. In fact, it will run the same software as the iPhone 11.
Yep.
So it's seamless, and you don't get that with Android. After 2 years, it starts slowing down. You don't get updates. Updates is important because of security. So 80% of Apple users have already updated their phones.
Oh, correction. Actually, I checked, right? Okay, this article by Jing Xiong,
Yeah.
one of our new team members.
Yes.
As of 17th of June, 92% of all devices are already running on iOS 13.
Versus
Android, right? On Android, I don't have the latest update, but based on the last one that came out from, try to get the date, I think should be early this year, Android was only like 8.2%, Android 10.
8.2% are on Android 10, and Android is already working on Android 11. Certain devices, so if you have like new devices, flagship devices, those devices will get Android 11. Yes, I understand. A lot of people say, you know, it's a little bit more complicated because Android makers have, manufacturers that use Android, they have to customize the Android operating system with their skin,
Yep.
with whatever. Yes, those are the challenges, but I think it can be done. It's just that sometimes manufacturers cannot keep up with the number of phones that they have in their inventory, in their catalog, and that's the problem. Okay, so iOS 14, not really anything groundbreaking. I think it's going to be the same with iPad OS.
Just like you mentioned about liberation, about
Yes.
how they're being open, right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest liberation would be the NFC, because I think NFC was introduced on the iPhone 6s, iPhone 6 with Apple Pay. So it only works with for payments, but finally they're allowing you to use it to unlock your car,
Yep.
and also to use it to download apps. So one thing that they've introduced in iOS 14, which I think is pretty interesting, is called App Clips. So App Clips is essentially like a mini app of whatever apps you have on your phone, and that allows you to instantly get access to services on the fly. Like for example, one example would be like, let's say if you go to a new city and then you need to rent like an e-scooter or want to pay for parking. So how they're going to distribute these mini apps is by like an NFC tag. So you have two options. You can use your phone to tap on it, or you can actually
It's like a
scan.
QR code with NFC.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then that will actually lets you download like a mini app. I think it's less than 10 megabytes.
Like a smaller version,
version.
of the full app,
just to
for
perform
you to use.
that task.
Yes,
Let's say for example, pay parking. You can tap on it and then you just download the functionality just enough for you to pay for parking. And that even allows you to access Apple Pay and also sign in with Apple. So it's pretty seamless.
Again, that's not anything new in Android. I think Android has that.
Yeah.
It's called.
It's a bit different, but I think Apple's done it more elegantly.
It's more nicer,
More
like,
nicer,
and
it's more
more
seamless.
easier to use and less technical.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to like downplay some of the significant things that's been announced in the WWDC. I just find it funny the way they announce it. Like, it's like, you know how Apple does it. It's like everything is groundbreaking, but actually not the same, but it's not entirely new either.
Yeah, especially the privacy part. That's the funniest part. Like, Android for the longest time, I think for a couple of years already, when you go to the Play Store, when you see the app, right, they actually list down like what type of permissions that is going to be granted when you download this app. Like,
What are the things that the app will request access to?
Yeah, like
camera,
storage,
gallery,
GPS location, all that. So Apple's introducing that with the new App Store. And in the presentation, they said, you know what this looks like? And everyone will be like the Play Store? They said, no, like the nutritional facts on the food packaging.
No, it's basically like Android. But I have to say, certain things like iOS is the first to introduce privacy settings situationally, meaning that when you open an app and it asks you to use the location, for example, you can use the location. You can grant permission for using the location always, only when you're using the app, or never. And that was something that Apple did first. And I think with the recent update from Android, I saw that, at least on my Samsung lah.
Yeah, in that aspect, but I think Android is supposed to give the permission, but not up to that level of
detail.
while using
the app.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So again, it's not.
It's refinements.
Yeah, it's not apple to apple lah. Okay, so we talked a fair bit about iOS. I think actually a bit more than I wanted to in this episode, because there's a lot of other things. We have iPadOS. There's some updates with AirPods. We mentioned that just now. I don't know whether we want to come back and talk about that. And then there's some updates in WatchOS, which is okay. And then we talked about privacy. The big thing I wanted to talk about was Apple Silicone. But that's towards the end of this show. So let's skim through the other things and talk about the features. Okay, iPadOS, what's new, what's interesting from your perspective?
I think the biggest update would be the new features for the Apple Pencil. Because Apple Pencil, I think everyone agrees that it works very well. It's awesome. Yeah. But when it comes to handwriting, right, it can be a bit hassle to manage your notes. So Apple is trying to make your handwriting as powerful as type text.
Type text, okay.
So one of the new features is Scribble. So now you can use your pencil to write on any input. So like for example, on a search bar or on any text field. So when you write that in, right, it will work as
this
text.
Sounds like S Pen.
Yeah, but finally on Apple. And the thing is that it recognizes when you write notes, right? You can actually select them as if they are text. You can actually double tap to select a single word, a single sentence, or the whole thing. And if you work on notes, sometimes when you write using handwriting, right, then sometimes you want to, oh crap, I need to move the space down. It's a bit tough on the current version. But now, since it's treated like text, you can just move it around.
Okay, cool. Not much in terms of iPadOS's update. Scribble is cool. I think it's useful if you're using iPad with the Apple Pencil. I'm not denying the Apple Pencil is one of the iPad is the best tablet. If anybody asks me what tablet to get, I'll tell them don't bother with anything else. Get the iPad. And the pencil works really well.
And it can support multiple language on the same line.
So this writing to text? Scribble, right? It's called. So I don't know if you guys are note users. I just need to point this out in terms of fairness. Okay, I'm not being biased, or I'm not going against Apple, whatever. But in terms of fairness, note users have this ability already. So you could choose a text that you just written, and you could move it up and down. I don't know what the feature is called, but that's already available on
and also. Note. Yeah, and finally they introduced like the contextual linking. Like for example, you write a phone number, you tap, you can make a phone call. You write address, open map. It's the same as a note. Yeah, but finally you get it on the iPad.
Well, okay. Thank you, Apple, for putting that in. It's going to be super useful. Let's move on to the next update. So AirPods. We talked about automatic switching. I'm really looking forward to that. It's super useful because again, I use my AirPod when I'm in bed. Before I go to sleep, I listen to some, sounds to make me go to sleep. But before that, I watch some videos. So sometimes when my AirPod is connected to my computer at work, and then I wanted to go put it back in to use my iPhone, I have to do that thing. I have to go into
reconnect.
Yeah. So I have to, I have to swipe down, tap on Bluetooth, and then choose my AirPod, and it's done. That's just maybe 3 clicks too many.
Yep.
So this new one, we haven't tested it, but Apple claims that all I need to do is just, it knows which of my instances that are active.
Yeah, so basically it knows that once it detects your active device, we just switch to it automatically.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. The other one is for AirPods, they've introduced this spatial audio thing.
This is for the AirPods Pro only.
AirPods Pro only, yes. So what is it and what does it do? So
spatial audio basically creates like a virtual surround sound for immersive playback. So what's interesting is that it works with like I think 5.1 and 7.1 kind of content, and it uses the gyroscope and accelerometers in the AirPods Pro to detect the direction. So it not only creates like a virtual environment, but it also detects your head movements.
Oh, really?
And then your device.
Wow.
So they need to use that information, because imagine if you're on a bus and then if the bus turns a corner, right, it will know that, okay, this is the orientation you're heading.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually calibrated based on that. So let's say we move head around, so you actually, it's as if you're facing a different direction based on
Meaning
the
if
source.
you're moving in a bus in the video, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe a game, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it works with like Dolby 5.1, whatever,
Yep.
all that standard. It's nice.
But I don't know how's the sound quality, because from my experience with this surround sound, it's not that great.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes it sounds simulated. And also speaking about sound quality, I'll be the first to admit I have AirPod Pro and I use them a lot. It's the only wireless headphone I have in my pocket all the time, because it's super small, number one, and number two, it's super convenient. But I'll be the first to admit that the sound is not even top 3. It's like really bad for the price that you're paying. So you're gonna pay about $1,000 for an AirPod Pro. The sound, the noise cancellation, not that great. I think the Sony
F1000 XM3.
1000 XM3 are much better. It fits much better as well. I think even the Buds Plus,
the Samsung Buds Plus,
has better noise isolation, not noise cancellation, because they don't have noise cancellation. It's passive, but it's better. The AirPods don't have really good bass. They don't have really good definition compared to the ones that are on their level. They're not bad, but if you're paying $1,000, you're gonna expect $1,000 worth of audio quality. And if you've been using Sony's or even Bose, but Sony's are my favorites, and you're gonna feel that difference. But it's the convenient lah. Most of the thing that I'm willing to trade off when I'm using Apple products is because of the convenience. It really makes things much more convenient. So some of the updates, like the automatic switching, the spatial audio, that iPad scribble thing, it just adds on to that. Not really anything extraordinary, but it helps. And then we're moving on to watchOS.
Yep.
Not really much. Again, they're going to be probably going to introduce more watch faces. You can now share watch faces easily with people. So if you're close by, you can just swipe a watch face to them.
No, actually, you can actually share by message.
Yeah, you can do that also.
And also, like, I think brands and also websites, you have like a
And
custom
apps,
custom version. You can just send by link.
Yeah.
You can just download. And I think one of the biggest updates would be you can actually make your watch more complicated. Okay.
Complications.
Complications.
Yeah. Not make it
So okay, for those who don't know, complications are basically the other elements in a watch that doesn't tell time. Like for example, like traditional watch, you have the date, like the moon and sun and all that. So you can add more stuff. Like developers can now show 2 complications from the same app on a watch face. Yeah.
Yay! Again, I'm a Apple Watch user. This is my watch face. Not really complicated.
But okay, the biggest
I'm a simple guy.
but the biggest change I would say.
Okay, wait. You use an Apple Watch.
Yep.
What is your watch face?
Mine's just the normal data one.
Sure.
Yeah. I just use this.
Not complicated also. You just need to know when's the sun going out and going down.
Yeah. And also, how you call that? My heart rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It depends on individuals. Some people want very complicated things.
Yeah,
there's a tachymeter watch face now as well. If you're into like iPhone sports, right?
Yeah.
Tachymeter.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a simple guy. Maybe I'm the outlier here. Maybe Alex and I are. We have the digital stuff, right? We want it to be simple because that's what digital things do for us. If I want a watch with complications, I'll get a watch with complications.
I don't know, some people's life, right, it's complicated.
Why would you? Okay, let me see if I can find like the most complicated. So these are the watch faces I have on my one. This is my favorite. The next one is my next favorite is this one, another simple one, and then this is my other one. So I use this when I'm outdoors a lot, because it will tell me when the sun is slipping.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm going to be outdoor a lot and I need to know when the sun is going to set and I need to plan my activities, this is what I use. Other than that, I don't need anything much more. So I don't know, complications, okay, cool. I don't know whether it's worth for you to staying up 2 o'clock in the morning to watch this for 2 hours.
Well, okay, apart from those, right,
no. Okay.
There's two more big things about the watch OS.
Okay, go.
Finally, sleep tracking.
Yay!
But it just...
I don't wear my Apple Watch when I sleep.
No, now they want you to wear the watch despite having just 18 hours of battery life. So,
it's useless. I have to charge it every day. It's not useless, but I have to charge it every day.
Yeah, but I think, I wish they have something to increase the battery life. But anyway, how it works is that it's a bit interesting because it's not just a watch, but also the phone. So when you enable the sleep tracking feature, you can actually set your sleeping goals, like what time to sleep. So right before your bedtime, it actually starts to wind down. Like for example, you try to switch on like do not disturb, everything becomes like a bit gloomy.
I have that on the iPhone already, right?
Yeah, but this integrated with the watch, and then when you go to sleep, it will actually do its thing, sleep tracking and all that. And next morning when you wake up, then it will give you a sleep report, and of course, obviously, going to remind you that your battery is low because it spent a whole night tracking your sleep.
Yeah, okay. The wind down doesn't work on the Apple Watch. It does, right? So, because if the phone winds down, the watch winds down too, right? My notification all becomes discrete when So I don't know. Maybe the way they describe it is different. I don't know. But okay, cool. Sleep tracking, cool. So they also have like a new discrete alarm, so they will slowly make the sound from soft to loud. It's not like anybody else hasn't done that before, and they will tap. The watch will tap on your hand slowly and then shake your head. I don't know, but they'll do that. But I have to say, Apple haptic stuff are the best. They make really good haptic stuff. The vibrations don't feel like vibrations. Again, I might sound like a fanboy. I'm telling you, I'm not. You just gotta try it for yourself if you have the chance. The other biggest thing with watchOS is hand washing detection. And here's the thing, I take off my watch when I wash my hands because water gets under here. When you wash your hand, okay, you go to not WWDC, CDC. They will tell you that you have to wash your wrists. How do you wash your wrists if there's a friggin' watch?
But we're Malaysia, we don't care about CDC.
You just wash your fingers, right? You just open
it's fine with me. I never have any issue about this.
You gotta take off your watch like this, put it down, and then you can wash your hands, see?
Even in public toilets?
I take off my watch and put it in my pocket.
I think maybe you're like one of the
I don't like
users.
because tell me guys, you guys watching this, like, you tell me, when you wash your hands, right? After you wash your hands, you dry them, the bit that's where the watch is, it's still wet. So you get the sound. You get that. Tell me you get it. Give me a like if you get that.
I never take out my watch when I wash my hands.
Do you take off your watch when you wash your hands, or you don't? Because if you don't, you're doing it wrong. That's all I'm saying. And you're with Alex for that.
I mean, just plain weird.
Okay.
So
hand
anyway,
washing detection. How does it work?
So Apple claims that this is the first watch to offer automatic detection of hand washing. So
it's not the first. I have to say.
Which one?
Galaxy Watch.
Is it automatic?
Maybe. I don't know. To check. No,
this is automatic. So
how do they do that?
So how it works is that based on your motions, like let's say when you wash your hands, it detects that it thinks that you're going to wash your hands, and it actually double confirms it by listening to the sound. If there's a sound of water gushing or soap squishing, then confirm this is washing your hands. Then it starts the countdown time.
Really?
For 20 seconds. Yes. It uses accelerometer using machine learning, and uses a sound to reconfirm. And then it actually.
What if I use hand sanitizer? How does it know?
It's not part of hand washing, man. This for water specifically.
No! Hand sanitizer replaces hand washing, but it doesn't replace hand. It is a substitute for water when there's no water source, you use sanitizer. So, does it work with sanitizers or not?
I don't think so.
That's why you were in the bubble so much, you were like gushing by the redesign and this and that and this and that. You didn't even ask whether whether it worked on hand sanitizer because you're so impressed with the microphone and
Okay, guys, stop wasting hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer are for emergency purposes. We should be washing hands with soap more often.
Okay,
That's the thing I want to
cool
say.
Hand washing detection is cool if it's true that they use the microphone to listen to the sound of the water and or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe Apple also consider people like me, so it will know that I'm hand washing and I took it off. I don't know lah. And then after that, what does it do? It's a timer, is it? Or
It's
what?
a timer. So if you stop halfway, right, it will like buzz you, hey, keep washing. And if you finish washing up to I think 20 seconds, it will tell you, okay, well done, job done. So at least it gives you the timer. So as you wash, there's some sound, I think it's like a bubble sound, and there's some haptic feedback like, okay.
Nah. Take off your watch when you wash your hands. I'm telling you,
does
I'm gonna probably find like information or like maybe we can do an LTA episode. Do you take off your watch if you wash your hands? Is it better or not? I think it is. All right, let's move on. We have like a few 10 more minutes or whatever. We still haven't gotten to Apple Silicone, and that was supposed to be the thing that we were supposed to talk about the most.
I think you
Okay,
can jump
privacy, blah blah blah. They've introduced new privacy stuff. Anything new in privacy?
Safari with better controls, and then I think if you use your camera, there's a small little red dot.
Yes,
orange
recording,
dot.
Yes,
Yeah.
a recording indicator.
Yeah.
To tell you that the mic or the camera is turned on. Yeah. So if you don't know. Then there's new Apple Store policy, which Alex mentioned just now. It actually is a copy from Android, but they say that it looks like a nutritional facts thing.
Tablet, yeah.
That's that. Okay, we've done with everything software that they've just announced in WWDC 2020. Now, Apple Silicone. The big news is that Apple is moving away from Intel, the people that they've been using silicon chips from. They've been buying chips and putting it in their computers, and now they're saying that they're going to make their own chips. It's going to be based on ARM technology. So ARM has been like huge in making mobile chips. So they're probably in all smartphones. Probably they're in. I know Samsung uses them in the Exynos processor.
Kirin also.
Huawei uses them in the Kirin processor. Snapdragon uses them. A version of it.
Yep.
So
a custom version at
yeah,
least.
I think MediaTek.
Yeah, they use ARM Cortex as well.
Yeah, all of them run on ARM. They're well known for mobile processors, and a lot of people think that they only make mobile. Even me. So I was like, hey, what's going on? Are they going to use mobile? Okay, we're going to go into that. But why is the reason that Apple is making their own chips? Are they giving like a not thumbs up? Are they giving a finger up to Intel? Say, screw you guys. You guys make crappy chips, and I'm not going to go to AMD. I'm going to make my own. What's the benefit?
Well, okay, I think when they talk about the move to Apple Silicone, right, for the Macs and all that.
So that is what the chips are going to be called, Apple Silicone.
I think it should be.
That's
what they presented.
Like a brand lah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether this is a final name, but that's what we know for now.
Yeah.
So before they jump into the decision and what's the potential future holds for that, they talk about their experience of using. Making their own processors, like for example, the iPhone and the iPad. So like the iPhone, you have the A4, A5, all the way until the latest A13.
Yeah.
If you compare with the first generation of iPhone, there's like 100% performance leap. And then for the iPad,
so they claim lah.
for the first iPhone, like more than 10 years.
Okay.
And then you have the iPad that jumps all the way to now A12Z.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is gives like a 1,000 times improvement in terms of graphics.
Okay.
And as you know, Apple always claims that the iPad Pro is more powerful than most mainstream laptops out there.
Probably some processors, I agree. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So the move to
probably more powerful than i3 computers.
possibly,
for
yeah,
sure.
especially rendering.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to Mac OS, right? No doubt they're powerful. You can get i9 versions and all that.
Yes.
So I think one of the biggest things is that if Apple's making their own chips, right, they can control the hardware and software better. It's easy for them to increase compatibility between apps. So one of the things that they brought up is that developers, right, they can create apps that works for both macOS and iOS more seamlessly because they control the whole platform end to end in that sense. And if you think about it, right, some analysts have said that one of the reasons why they decided to do their own because they believe that they can do better than Intel, based on experience on mobile and tablets.
Better than Intel. Okay, I wanna jump on that So Intel has been like resting on their laurels for so long. They've been the one to go with. You won't get a computer if it runs on anything else. But they've been blindsided, and I guess AMD has given them like a really good run for their money. So much so that I would put my money on Ryzen chips rather than Intel chips. If I wanted to go out and buy a new computer, I'd look for a Ryzen alternative, simply because it will be at least 500 to 1,000 ringgit off a comparable Intel computer, and it will perform better. Maybe the battery life not as good, but not far off. So Intel is not in a comfortable position right now. Of course, there are other nuances. The Intel chips are still on quad-core architecture, while the Ryzen chips are on hexa-core, 8-core architecture. So a lot of people can argue like, oh, if Intel suddenly jumps to hexa-core, they're going to give Ryzen like a run for their money. But you have to factor in the cost consideration and stuff like that. My argument with Apple Silicone is that maybe computers are going to be cheaper. Macs are going to be cheaper, maybe not, because I think Alex said that it's going to be more expensive because they have to design everything themselves.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not going to increase in price. So Mac computer prices are going to be roughly the same.
Which is already expensive, by the way.
Yeah, they are, comparatively speaking. Tim Cook said that they are looking to launch a Mac with Apple Silicone by the end of this year. The question is, which Mac? So again, I'm saying that ARM is like full on mobile.
Power efficiency is the key thing, right? Normally, when you think about ARM.
Yes, and then I would say they've not been tested on a laptop computer or even in a computer. But Alex points out that they've been running servers.
Yeah, they also created they also powered supercomputer. Like even recently, one of the most powerful supercomputers actually powered by ARM technology. So they have the capability to do so.
But I'll put a counter to that, in the sense that designing a chip for a supercomputer has much more different restrictions and design considerations compared to designing a chip for a laptop, for example. Like, you don't consider heat as a problem, you don't consider power as a problem, you don't consider packaging as a problem. And those challenges are the one that differentiates a good processor and a bad processor when it comes to laptop computers, because we want them to run quiet, we want them to run cool, and we want them to run as efficiently as possible in terms of battery performance. And those are the challenges. And ARM, although they've proven themselves in the mobile area, I question why until now they have not yet come up with like a laptop processor. So
I think it's because there's no like a cohesive effort to make this thing work for a computing platform. Because they think about it like Qualcomm has an ARM processor for laptops, but it's running on Windows, and then I guess there's a disconnect between the software aspect and the hardware aspect of things. But for Apple, I think they can detect those things because they make both the software and the hardware. So I think they have better control. So I believe they have a better chance at making this work compared to others.
Well, it's certainly interesting to look at. Tim Cook in WWDC said that it's going to take them 2 years to transition. I don't exactly know what that means because he wasn't clear, and he did also mention that Apple will still be making Intel-based computers for years to come. That's what he said, years to come. What does he mean by 2-year transition, and what does he mean by years to come? Are we going to see a mix of ARM-based MacBooks and Mac computers in the future competing with Intel MacBooks and Mac computers? It's going to be messy, if you ask me.
I think it's not really that messy. I think, because the way I look at it is that most people who buy Macs, right, they don't really scrutinize the specs as hard as Windows users.
Yeah, that's
So,
true, but I
yeah.
just want to point out, okay, remember what you want to say, okay, but I want to point out that now it's easier because I just need to look at the processor whether it says ARM or Intel.
Correct.
So it's easier to compare.
Yeah.
And that's what Apple doesn't want.
Yep.
So what did you wanted to say?
So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps what I'm seeing is that they're probably going to start with the lower end of the Macs first.
Yeah.
Probably they're going to introduce the ARM processors on the Mac Mini and or maybe perhaps the MacBook Air. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you're still going to see Intel-powered MacBook
Pros
in
and
the
MacBook,
market.
yeah.
So until they've proven themselves with the lower end markets, that replaces the, I think it's the Y processors on the MacBook Air. If that
Yeah.
works, then they probably move up.
Okay, that's an interesting theory, but the problem with that is Apple made a big deal with Apple Silicone during WWDC, and we know WWDC is like a platform for enthusiasts and developers.
Yeah.
And they want to impress. And if they're saying that, oh, we're going to move to Apple Silicon in 2 years, we're going to launch a Apple Silicon-based Mac by the end of this year, that sets a level, that sets an expectation. And for me, it's weird for them to launch with a Mac Mini or a MacBook Air because MacBook Air and Mac Mini are products not for the enthusiasts. It should be at least a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Do they still have MacBooks?
What? MacBook Pro?
Yeah, no,
iMacs?
MacBooks, they don't.
No, it's MacBook
So
Air,
it's,
MacBook
it's
Pro.
either Air or Pro.
Pro, yes.
It needs to be a Pro because if, yes, it is a safer approach to launch on a Mini or an Air, but that doesn't give them the data to do more with the processor.
Because you need to think about this. iOS Mac OS Big Sur, for example, when you come out with a new product, right, they need to think about the current operating system, the current buyers. If I buy a MacBook Pro right now, right, it's supposed to support the latest and greatest features of the operating system as well.
Yep.
So they need to juggle between that. I need to come up with something new. At the same time, I need to ensure that my current customers who are running on Windows are still getting the best experience. So that's going to be something that they need to navigate through while making it happen.
So that doesn't mean if it runs on MacBook Air, those problems are forgivable. It's not. So I don't see why they should make a MacBook Air instead of a MacBook Pro that runs on. Yeah, and
Maybe
then,
I'm wrong. Maybe they can jump straight to MacBook Pro.
but that's also a good point that you mentioned that so now they have a big Mac OS that they have to develop in the Intel architecture for Intel machines, and then they have to develop a Mac OS for ARM Apple Silicon architecture. So there's a lot to do, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. So they need to start somewhere.
And then the developers will have to figure out how to transition from Intel software to, software that works for Intel.
I would say that the Mac OS Big Sur, which by now actually is version 11 actually. So I think it will be backward compatible for both platforms. It's going to be seamless because as a user, right, I shouldn't be bothered whether it's Intel or ARM. It should work.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they want to repeat the mistake as Windows. Remember when Windows launched I think it's Windows 7 or Windows 8, they have the two versions. There's an RT version, which is based on ARM. It looks the same on the surface, but when you go in, it's like, hey, I'm getting a different experience. I don't have the run processor. I can't install executable files. I need down from the App Store. So I think Apple wants to avoid that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree that they should learn from what Windows did, but I'm still unsure on what's going to happen with the Macs when this ARM version comes out. So it's certainly something interesting to see. We didn't talk much about Big Sur, that reminds me, but there's really not much to talk about.
It's a new,
anyway.
it's like a design tweak, which they say is like all new.
Yeah.
I think the biggest difference would be the new
Notification.
control center.
Yeah. Okay, so Big Sur, okay, I Rory wrote like an article about transitioning from a Windows computer to a Mac, and he highlighted very good pertinent points on certain problems. Okay, one of the biggest problems I have is Windows snapping. I found out in my research that the snapping thing is patented by Microsoft. So that's the reason why Apple's you cannot. It takes you you have to jump through a lot more of a thing to snap your Windows. Okay, that's one thing I hope they'll be able to bring to Mac OS. Yes, for those of you who have been using Mac OS, there is some aftermarket solutions or things that you can install to do the snapping thing, but I like it built in. I don't know, maybe Apple and Microsoft can work together on that. Some things like if you're on full screen mode, why do you have to hide all the status bars?
The time,
the status bar, the time, the battery, the Wi-Fi signal, all that is gone when you're on full screen mode in Mac. Okay, and then Windows management, when you're working on a mini window, like a calculator, and you're working on a spreadsheet, and
just
you
on full
call
screen.
when the spreadsheet is on full screen and you call the spreadsheet to the front, the calculator disappears. And sometimes you just want it there so that you can just refer to the calculations but not work on it. You can't do that on a Mac. It's just those small things, and it's a bit inconsistent because they've been working on a lot of the small things in the updates in WWDC 2020, but certain other small things still need working on. Okay, I think we've covered pretty much everything that's interesting in WWDC 2020. The biggest thing, of course, is I'm looking forward to be able to install the iOS 14 on my iPhone soon, and also what Apple is going to do with the Apple Silicone Mac coming out later this year. So be sure to tune in to StoryChanger.com to get the latest on those things. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking the video and the podcast. If you enjoy what we've been talking about, we enjoy reading your comments and suggestions, so please do put them in the comment section in the video, or send us a message in our group. We have a very active group on Facebook. It's called RKMD. It's where you can connect with all of the team members in StoryChanger.com and ask about recommendations and thoughts about products and services that's related to tech. We're all there to help you out. The community is quite active as well. So do join us on RKMD on Facebook. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for subscribing. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. And we'll catch you guys later. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.